Okay. So basically, actually, I want to record this. That's why this waiting for some. It's okay. Okay. So very first question. They gave not required, madam. I can manage. Thank you. Very first question. T1 is 3. Tn is Tn minus 1 plus 2n plus 1. This is given. T1 is 3. I wrote. I kept n equal to 2 in this. I got this. I kept n equal to 3. I got this. I kept n equal to 4. I got this. There's a pattern that we have seen. We are able to tell nth term is this. This itself is an AP with first term 3, common ratio 2, and the sum of n terms is this formula. Okay. They wanted what? T20, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay, they wanted T20. Okay. So, in T20, if you put it 20 by 2 into, this will be 2 into 3 plus 20. Of course, I would have simplified here. N by 2 into 2 common, it will be n plus 2. I can cancel 2 and 2, n into n plus 2. That will be 20 into 20 plus 2. 20 into 22 is 440. You can do like that, or one more thing that you can do. I think all of you know sum of first n natural numbers is n square. Am I right? All of you know first n, not natural numbers, sorry. For sum of first n odd numbers is n square. You know that? 1 is 1 square. 1 plus 3 is 4, which is 2 square. 1 plus 3 plus 5 is 9, which is 3 square. 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 is 16, 4 square. So you add 2 odd numbers, 2 square. Add first 3 odd numbers, 3 square. Add first 4 odd numbers, 4 square. First n odd numbers is n square. All of you know that? Yes. I told you one time some little interesting way to derive it. Let us say this is a 4 by 4 square. If I take the small size squares, how many are there? 16, 4 square, right? Let us count how many are there. These are 1. These are how many? 3, right? These are how many? 5. And these are how many? 7. So 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 is the total number of squares, which is equal to 4 square. So we proved geometrically. If we would have taken n by n grade, we would have got 1 plus 3 plus 5 so on up to 2n minus 1 is n square. I'm telling all this so that at least we'll remember sum of first n odd numbers is n square. Okay, why I'm telling that here? You add 1 and subtract 1 here. You take 1 plus 3 plus 5 so on minus 1. Without this one, these are n numbers. With one, these are n plus 1 numbers. So these are sum of first n plus 1 odd numbers. Their sum will be n plus 1 whole square. Minus 1 is there. Okay. So if you use that, T20 will be 21 whole square minus 1. 441 minus 1 is 440. The same answer. Is it all right? Okay, please respond.
Yes, sir.
All right. So now let us look at the second question. Okay, so in the second question, they said 2 plus root 3 and 1 minus I are roots of a fourth degree expression, which is x square plus px plus 1 into x square minus 2x plus q. I'm sharing the screen question to you, right or no? No, then something wrong. I'll try to. Okay, so here it is given 2 plus root 3 and 1 minus I are the roots of x square plus px plus 1 into x square minus 2x plus q equal to 0, where p and q are integers. P comma q are integers. And they wanted what is p plus q. Okay, what is p plus q? All right. We know very well that if p and q are integers, when you expand them, we'll get a fourth degree equation where all coefficients are integers. Whenever all coefficients are rational numbers, whenever one irrational number like a third is a root, its conjugate is also root. We know that. Next, whenever a complex number is a root and all coefficients are real numbers, its conjugate is also root. Here, all the coefficients are real and that too rational. If 1 minus I is root, 1 plus I has to be root. If 2 plus root 3 is root, 2 minus root 3 has to be root. Okay. So because these two are the roots, okay. Now, I cannot take this and this are roots of this and this and this are roots of this. Not possible, because this alone is a quadratic equation with roots real means this should have roots in conjugate pairs if they are irrational or complex. Okay. So whether these two are roots of this or these two are roots of this, how to decide? It's very simple. Here product of the roots is 1. Here sum of the roots is 2. In this case, sum of the roots is 2. In this case, product of the roots is 1. Here product of the roots is sum of the roots is 4 here, and here product of the roots is 2 here. So you know how to match with that. So for this, roots have to be 2 plus root 3, 2 minus root 3 because of the product equal to 1. And p minus p is sum, which is equal to 4. We'll get p equal to minus 4. And here sum of the roots is 2. Okay, so roots are 1 minus I and 1 plus I because sum is equal to 2 and q is equal to product, all right, which is 1 minus I into 1 plus I, that is 1 minus I square, that is also 2, 1 plus 1. So p is minus 4, q is 2, so p plus q equal to minus 2. Is it all right?
Yes, sir.
So answer is B there. Of this class, I can send the assignment in the group to you, so that if you want to look at it once again. So those are completed, you can try third and fourth. Right? Once again, please put on your videos. Okay, I'm going to erase this. Is it all right? Okay, third question. They wanted a coefficient of x power 7 in ax square plus 1 by bx whole power 11 is equal to coefficient of x power minus 1 in ax minus 1 by bx square whole power 11. Okay, based on that, what is the condition between A and B?
Sir,
చెప్పండి
sir,
మేడం.
again video off, sir.
Okay.
Video off
Listen.
చేస్తున్నా, sir.
Children, please put on your videos. Please don't make us repeat this. Either you leave the class, we don't mind. Okay. If you are coming, video should be on. Madam, we will not, from now onwards, will not ask, will not make any announcement, madam. Video is off.
Shall I remove, sir?
Put them in waiting room. Put them in waiting room, madam. No problem.
Some students did not connect audio also, sir.
Audio will see later, madam. Video should be on, madam. Video is off. Put them in waiting room. Let us not. We'll never repeat this
Okay, sir,
again. What to waste our time? Okay. I'll assume somebody is listening to the class and I'll teach. Okay. So how to find the coefficient of x power 7 in this? There are two methods. If you want to find coefficient of x power k in ax power p plus b by x power q whole power n, if it is happening in r plus 1th term, we have a formula r equal to np. If this is m, let us say x power m, np minus m by p plus q. How did we get that? You take the general term in this, find the power of x in that, and equate it to n. Then we'll get it. Okay, that is a formula. We also can do another way. Let us see in LHS how can we use that. I want to coefficient x power 7. So r value is n is 11, p is 2, 11 into 2, minus m is 7, p plus q is 2 plus 1. 22 minus 7 is 15 by 3, which is 5. So r is equal to 5. Now, another way also I'll tell you is you take LCM here. You will get abx cube, okay, plus 1 whole by bx whole power 11. That is abx cube plus 1 whole power 11 by b power 11 x power 11. In this total, I wanted x power 7 coefficient. Means in the numerator, what I wanted, already x power 11 is there. So coefficient of which x power I have to find? Anybody want to tell? In the total, I want x power 7. Denominator x power 11 is there. So in the numerator, I have to find x power 18. So that x power 18 here and x power 11 here together will become x power 7. If you want x power 18, the power of this should be 6. That means the power of this should be 5. Again, r equal to 5 only. Okay. So whether you use this or this, what we need, we are going to get T6, which is equal to 11C5, ax square whole power 6, 1 by bx whole power 5. Even here, power 6 here, power 8. So 11C5, I'll keep it, I will not find it 11C5. 11C5 into a power 6 into 1 by b power 5 into x power 7. So the coefficient is only this. Let us in the right side similarly how to find the coefficient. Let me write in this small place here. If I'm using this formula, 11 into 1 minus 1 by 1 plus 2. That is 12 by 3, that is 4. That means it will happen in T4 plus 1, T5. Or you take LCM here, you will get AB x cube minus 1 whole power 11 by b power 11 x power 22. In this total, I want minus 1, but already here x power 20 means I want x power 21 here. If I want x power 21, I have to take power 7 here, power 4 here. That is exactly r equal to 4. Your T5 will be 11C4 ax whole power 7 minus 1 by bx square whole power 4. Which is 11C4 a power 7 by b power 4 into x power minus 1, that to positive, not a negative. Okay. So now we have to equate these two. So in this, what is the coefficient I got? 11C5 a power 6 into 1 by b power 5. Here what did I get? 11C4 into a power 7 into 1 by b power 4. Let us try to simplify here further. I cannot straight away cancel 11C5 or 11C4 here because 11C5 equal to 11C6 but not 11C4. Okay. So a power 6, a power 7 means one a is left here. B power 5, b means one b is left here. 11c5 versus 11c4. You can write if you want 11 factorial by 5 factorial, 6 factorial here. Here 11 factorial by 4 factorial, 7 factorial. Yeah. 11 factorial cancel. Out of 5 and 4 here, 5 will be left. Out of 6 and 7 here, 7 will be left. So here 1 by 5 into 1 by 8. Here 1 by 7 into 8. So that will give me AB is equal to 7 by 5. Let us see in the options. We get that or yeah, option D is there where AB is equal to 7 by 5. Is it okay? Third question, everybody? Please respond. One of you unmute
Yes,
and speak. Okay. Okay, those who completed can try 4, 5 in the meantime. Okay. So, fourth question, they said clearly A not equal to B, B not equal to C, C not equal to A. B, C are distinct. And they gave A square plus B equal to B square plus C equal to C square plus A. And they want us to find what is A plus B into B plus C into C plus A. Okay. This question, when I finish it, it looks like easy. But when I try in the beginning, it looks like tricky what to do and all that. All right. Find from this you subtract this. So a square minus b square this side and b to the other side, c minus b. Similarly, this one this side, b square minus c square equal to a minus. And from this, if I subtract this, c square minus a square and b minus a. Okay, I equated these two, adjusted them, equated these two and rearranged them, equated these two and rearranged. This can be written as a plus b into a minus b is equal to minus of b minus. This can be written as b plus c into b minus c equal to minus of c minus. C plus a into c minus a equal to minus of a minus b. Now multiply all of them. You will get a plus b into b plus c into c plus a into a minus b into b minus c into c minus a. Minus 3 times, that is minus of a minus b into b minus c into c minus a. I can cancel these two, they are not zero. So I'll get a plus b into b plus into c plus a equal to minus 1. If you still want to write, bring it one side, you'll get a plus b into b plus c into c plus a plus 1 into a minus b into b minus c into c minus a equal to 0. Because a, b, c are distinct, this can't be 0, this can't be 0, this can't be 0. So this has to be 0. So a plus b into b plus c plus a plus 1 equal to 0. That is a plus b into b plus c into c plus a is equal to minus 1. Are you able to follow this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just manipulating algebraic simplifications. We have this kind of. Okay, those are done. Fourth one. In the meantime, try fifth question. Okay. Let us see the fifth question now. Okay, in fifth question on the screen, they said f and g are two functions such that f dash x is equal to g of x and g dash x is equal to minus f of x. And they gave h of x is equal to f of x square plus g of x square. They said h of 1 is 2018. What is h of 2018 is what? Maybe this is a question given in year 2018 in some exam. Because they can give it any number. Why did they keep 2018? Okay. This is given in past year advanced many years back. Very advanced mains also given some year. You can see in past year mains question. And given so many other engineering set and other exams. Method 1. Basically, I want to prove h of x is a constant function. How to prove something is constant? One of the way is find the derivative and prove it is 0. What is h dash x? F square x derivative is 2 into f of x into f dash x. G square x derivative is 2 into g of x into g dash x. Now 2 into f of x. In the place of f dash x, I can write g of x. And what is g dash x? Minus f of x. You can see both are same. The positive here minus here, they got cancelled. So 0. H dash x equal to 0 implies h of x is a constant function. Once it is constant function, at 1 or 2018 value will be same. H of 2018 will be same as h of 1. And h of 1, if they give 10, answer is 10. If they give 9, answer is 9. They gave 2018, so answer is 2018. Okay. Is everybody able to follow this? Rakesh, understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, method 2. Actually, if I g dash x is what? F double dash x. G dash x is minus f of x. But if you differentiate both sides, it will become f double dash x. So f double dash x is equal to minus f of x. Anybody has seen this kind of thing that dy by dx, d square y by dx square equal to minus y. D square y by dx square equal to minus y. Yes, it is SHM, simple harmonic motion. The very definition of simple harmonic motion is acceleration is proportional to displacement, that with opposite sign. So that is exactly this, right? So you can use your simple harmonic motion and understand it is. You can even tell what is the function. You can take F is sine and G is cos. Okay? Not just guessing, it is actually true. But anyway, I want to tell something different here. After taking f double dash x to the minus f of x, substitute f, multiply the f dash x on both sides. You get f dash x into f double dash x equal to minus f dash x into f of x. Integrate on both sides. For this is a derivative. So this is actually d by dx of f dash x whole square by 2. That is an integrate, that's what will happen. So let me write that way. Integrate it here, integrate it here. This is f dash x whole square by 2. This is minus f of x whole square by 2, because for this is a derivative. But in the video it is not clear. For this is a derivative, so integral is f dash x so whole square by 2, because integral t dt will be t square by 2. For this is a derivative, so minus f of x whole square by 2 plus c. Now bring this side and to that side, you are going to get f of x whole square plus f dash x whole square is equal to 2c. That is a constant. That is exact f of x whole square plus f dash x means what? G of x only. So this is a f square plus g square is 2c for all x. And f square plus g square is exactly h. So h of x is equal to a constant. Okay, this is one way. Apart from that, I can nearly prove that f and g must be the sine and cos. You can take any sine a sine x. You can take even a sine x plus theta also. If it is possible to prove it, how f of x must be a sine some x plus theta, g of x will be b cos x plus theta, not b cos, a cos. Now it is very easy to prove f square plus g square is equal to a square, a constant. Okay, one may ask how are you going to prove that? What we got here is a differential equation. We try to solve that, we will get it. The first method I done easy. It's very simple. Second method is this. Third method, we can guess f and g are a sine and a cos. Apart from guessing, we can prove it here. How? Send square root to that is from this we'll get f dash x is equal to square root of c minus f of x whole square by 2 with a root 2. The 2 is inside. Okay. So f dash x by square root of 2c minus f of x whole square equal to some constant equal to 1. Okay, this is for this is a derivative. Basically, it is like dx by root a square minus x square integral is 1 by sine inverse x by. So you're going to get sine inverse f of x by root 2c is equal to x plus c. So you sine here, root 2c this side. You're going to get f of x equal to root 2c into sine of x plus c. Of course, within integration, there will be one more constant. That is this. So this need not be this. You can call it as k. You can see you got f of x equal to some a into sine x plus theta. Okay. So once you understand that, again you can do f square plus g square equal to a constant. Okay. This is a simple question. I just elaborately discuss a little more so that it may be useful for other questions. Other answers is simple options. Okay, just read the 6th question, think about it. Okay, I'm arranging this whole thing. Okay, sixth question. A bag contains 10 coins numbered 1, 2, 2 squares, 1 up to 2 power 9. Three friends ABC play a game. First, A picks a coin randomly from the bag, notes down the number, and returns it into the bag. Then B does the same, followed this. Followed the sum of the numbers obtained by A and B is equal to the number obtained by C. Okay. So basically, all are in the powers of 2. One, two squares, 1 up to 2 power 9. That is total 10 numbers. A can choose any one of them 10 ways. B can choose any one of them 10 ways. C can choose any one of them 10 ways. So it is allowed because so denominator is 10 into 10 into 10. Numerator. A and B should be this what number A got, what number B got, the sum should be that. So let us say A got 2 power m. I'll not take m, I'll take it as one of them is 2 power m plus 2 power n should be 2 power k. It is not possible. Why? Because let us say by chance m is greater than n. If I take 2 power n common, it will be 2 power m minus n plus 1 equal to 2 power k. For this, every divisor is 2 only. Okay. So that means even this also should be a multiple of 2. But this is when you divide with 2, remainder will be 1. How can it be divisible by 2? Unless only one chance, and this power is 0. Only when this power is 0, 2 power 0 will be 1, 1 plus 1 will be 2. If you take anything else, it will be 2 square, 2 power 1, 2 cube, plus 1. So this will not be divisible by 2, but there is no such divisor on the right side. So you have to be able to prove 2 power m minus 1 plus must be 1. M minus n must be 0. M must be n. Okay, now it is very simple. What A got, what B got, what C got. If they got 1 here, 1 here, it should be 2. If they got 2 here, 2 here, it should be 2 square. If they got 4 here, 4, no, what is that? Yeah, 2 square, this should be 2 cube. If they got 2 cube, it should be 2 power 4. Finally, when it is 2 power 8 and 2 power 8, this should be 2 power 9. These both cannot get 2 power 9, 2 power 9 because the sum will be 2 power 10. So we got only 9 ways. Okay, so what A got, what B got, what C got, I wrote the full list. And why these two must be equal, they cannot be different. I said their sum, otherwise will not be a multiple of 2. Is it clear? Somebody please respond. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sayana, Sayana, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Or just you can read the answer question, think about. Okay, basically what is seventh question? We have set S. R1 is a relation from set S to set S. R2 is also a relation from set S to set S. Both are equivalence relation. If you take their union, will you get an equivalence relation or not? You should have a little maturity to answer this, but not difficult. If you remember what is reflexive, symmetric, and transitive and all. I'll try to explain with an example so that we'll be able to relate to more. Let us say I'll take set S as A, B, C, D, some X and Y. I want to take R1 as AB, sorry, A comma A, B comma B, C comma C, D comma D, X comma Y and Y comma X, and A comma B. That's all. I want to take R2. Maybe I want to take some more examples. It's okay, not a problem. I have to take, of course, X comma X and Y comma Y also. That's good. Today I'll take R2 as same A comma A, B comma B, C comma C, D comma D, and X comma Y and Y comma X and X comma X and Y comma Y and B comma C. Now tell me R1, is it reflexive? Yes. What is reflexive definition? For every element, same element should be image. So for A is image, B comma B, C comma C, D comma D, X comma X, Y comma Y. All 6 of them should be there. If any one of them is missing, it is not reflexive. Any extra are there, we don't mind. So R1 is reflexive, similarly R2 is reflexive. Their union is also reflexive, not a problem. Symmetric. Here if X comma Y is there, definitely it's Y comma X should be there. Okay. Here also X comma Y is there, Y comma X. So this is also symmetric. And for D comma D, reverse is D comma D. Fine. Okay. But we want it to be equivalence, right? Okay. I cannot put A comma. I can put A comma B, then I should write B comma A also. Let's say I'll write A comma B here, B comma A here. Here I'll write B comma C and C comma. It's okay. I'm honestly putting more. Okay. All right. So this is also symmetric because of this. Symmetric because of this, and because of this symmetric. There is anything. Transitive. Let us see carefully. When you take R1 union R2, what happens? You get A comma A, B comma B, C comma C, D comma D, X comma X, or okay, let us say X comma Y, Y comma X, X comma X, Y comma Y, A comma B, B comma A, B comma C, and C comma B. Actually, there is a main point I want to tell, but I wrote big things. It's okay. This alone is transitive. Why? For X, Y is the image. For Y, X is the image. So for X, X should be image. Normally, transitive means what? If A comma B is there, B comma C is there, A comma C should be there. For A, B is image. For B, C is image. For A, C should be image. For X, Y is image. For Y, X is image. For X, X is image. So this is transitive. But their union is not transitive. Mainly everything because of this. Say carefully. I'll put only A comma B, but I did not keep B comma C here. I kept only B comma C. I did not keep A comma B here. So this alone is transitive. This alone is transitive, not an issue. But their union is not transitive because AB is there, BC is there, but AC is missing. Okay. So in intersection, we will not have that problem. But in union, what we have done very carefully is in R1, I kept only AB and I did not keep BC. In R2, I kept only BC and I did not keep AB. But in the union, AB will come, BC will come, and AC is not there, so it is not transitive. Okay, so like that you can understand. So are you clear that when R1 is transitive, R2 is transitive, their union need not be transitive? Is that point clear? Please respond, otherwise I'll explain again. Rakesh, understood?
No, sir. No,
Any
sir.
doubt? You want me to explain once again, or is it clear?
One more time, please.
Okay. So basically, I'll simplify it. Let us leave everything. I'll simplify it. I will write Z also here. I will take R1 as AB, XY, YZ, and XZ. I'll take R2 as BC, XY, YZ, and XZ. Is R1 transitive? Yes. So for X, Y is the image, for Y, Z is the image, so for X, Z is the image. R2 is transitive? Yes. But if I take R1 union R2, you will get AB, you will get BC, you will get XY, YZ, Z, XZ. Here nicely for X, Y is image, for Y, Z is image, so for X, Z is image. But what about this? For A, B is image, for B, C is image, but AC is not there. It is not transitive. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if R1 and R2 are transitive, there is no guarantee that their union should be transitive. Okay, eighth question. This is not an odd function, so to find its value. Integral -1 to 1 mod x by 1 plus e power x d. Okay, we have seen many questions in our regular course. Integral a to b f of x dx. You can replace a to b f of a plus b minus x dx. And when you do I plus I, it will become a simpler expression which can be integrable easily. One of the standard properties. We call this as I. Here a is -1, b is 1, so their sum is 0. So I can replace x with minus x straight away. Integral -1 to 1, in the place of x I can write -1 plus 1 minus x. Here -1 plus 1 minus x dx. Using the formula, integral a to b f of x dx is equal to integral a to b f of a plus b minus x. Okay, that is mod x by 1 plus e power minus x dx. We can write e power minus x as 1 by e power x, and -1 to 1 mod x by 1 plus 1 by e power x. That is -1 to 1 mod x by e power x plus 1 by e power x. Integral -1 to 1 e power x into mod x by e power x plus 1 dx. Now we can let us add this and this. I'm writing every small step so that you'll understand. Otherwise, I plus I integral -1 to 1 mod x by 1 plus e power x dx plus integral -1 to 1 e power x mod x by e power x plus 1 dx. This and this denominator is the same, so I can add the numerator. So -1 to 1 mod x plus e power x into mod x by e power x plus 1 dx. I can take mod x common. Is it visible here? Yes. Okay. Integral -1 to 1 mod x common 1 plus e power x by e power x plus 1 b. E power x plus 1 will cancel. I got integral minus 1 to 1 mod x dx. That itself we can do in two ways. It's an even function, so 2 times 0 to 1 mod x dx. That is 2 into 0 to 1 x is positive, so 0 to 1 x dx. That is a simple integral x square by 2 with the limits 0 to 1. 2 into 1 by 2 is 1. But remember, this is 2i is 1, so I will be 1 by 2. Otherwise, this is simple V-shaped graph, mod x graph like this, minus 1 to 1. This area is a triangle, this is a triangle. So base is 1, height is 1. This is 1 by 2, this is 1 by 2. So 2i is 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2. I is 1 by 2. After all, different integration is area under the curve. So main point is replace x with minus x, that is a plus b minus x, and do I plus I. What is this question? Let ABCD be a rectangle and the midpoint of CD. Suppose AC and BD diagonals of a rectangle intersect the two, and A and BD intersect the perpendicular points. Then AOX area, OX and by area. This is better than this and this. Equal to this only when square are always equal. Basically, they want us to compare the two areas. Okay. You can do this by coordinate geometry. Coordinates. So we should be able to do the vectors, complex numbers, or just by pure geometry that we will do in lower classes. This is a rectangle. These are the coordinates. This is the midpoint. Triangle. This. And here is capital Y. Of course, I can join these two. AOX. Okay, so this is a rectangle. Basically, these are the two diagonals. This is the midpoint of this side. These two are joined. This is x and this is y. This area versus this area. Basically, they're showing they're equal, or which is greater, which is this. Okay, if I take this, can I prove this is half of this? Then I have to prove this length. This length is half of this. This is 1:2. This is 1:2. Can we prove? Okay, let me see if I can do it by coordinate geometry a little easier. I want to take, this is not rho, this is rho, right? Okay, fine. This is OX and Y. Another, that is a D, right? T1. Okay. I'm sure by simple triangles I should do it. I'll take it as this is the origin. I'll take this is A and this will be, let us say, length. Okay. So this will be A comma B. This will be minus A comma B. B A comma minus B. B minus A comma minus. I'm taking x axis here, y axis here, A forward, B downward, B up. What is this point? 0 comma minus 3. So basically, this is B units. What about this point I want to find? So I have to find this equation, solve. I know 2 points on a line. I can find this line. What's the slope for b by minus a? So AM equation, y minus b, slope is 2b by minus into x minus 0. That is y equal to minus 2bx by minus 3. Anyway, you can write. This line is passing to origin, so it's simply y by x is equal to b by a. So y is equal to bx by a. So I can substitute here bx by a, y equal to b by a. This is minus 2bx by a minus 3, which is 3b. This is x by a equal to b. So I'm getting x is equal to a by 3. So this point is x is a by 3. And when x is a by 3, y will be b by 3. Okay. So I think we can easily show this is a by 3, this is a by 2 is to 1. Possible to prove. Let me see if I can do some other way also. By coordinate geometry, it is done now. Why? To take this point, this point, this point. What is the area of AOX area? If you know one vertex is origin x1 by 2 minus x2 by 1, it will be of mod minus AB by 3 minus AB by 3 minus AB by 3 minus AB by 3 with a mod, that is AB by 3. What about OXM? OXM. I can take height into base also. This height will be, this is A by 3. Half into B into x coordinate A by 3. So AB by 6 is half of that. If this is half of that, this is a double. So in fact, OXM by area will be double of OXM triangle, which is 2 times. So that is AB by 2. So this and this are areas are equal. This is by coordinate geometry. Somebody can take origin here. It may be easier. Let us see. You can do by pure geometry, I'm sure. They are not spend time about it. So we'll see first. I want to do this whole thing and this. This is a rectangle. These are the 2 diagonals. Say D. This is A, B, C. This is straight down here. This is O. This is M. This is X. This is Y. In terms of vectors, if I want to take if I take this position vector as A bar, this position vector as B bar, this will be minus A bar, this will be minus B bar, this will be minus A bar minus B bar by 2. What about this? This should be a multiple of B bar, lambda B bar. So OD equation is R bar equal to some lambda into B bar. And what's the equation of this? 2 points. So R bar equal to 1 minus lambda into A bar plus lambda into I will take difference of these two. That is 3A bar by 2 plus B bar by 2. But if you try to solve this A bar should not be there. So that means A bar quotient should be 0 because R bar should be multiple of R bar means the point of intersection. What is A bar coefficient here? 1 minus lambda. There it is 3 lambda by 2 equal to 0 means 1 plus lambda by 2 equal to 0. So lambda equal to minus 2. If I put that minus to that, I'm getting minus 2 B bar. Something wrong there. One minus, so I directly take this, sorry, I'm using second formula, so I can directly take minus A bar minus B bar by 2. If you know 2 points on the line, equation of line is this. So now this is wrong. It will be 1 minus lambda by 2 is 0. 3 lambda by 2 equal to 1 and lambda is 2 by 2. So R bar equal to minus 2B bar by 2. So this position vector of this is minus 2B bar by 2. Now, how will you find area of this triangle? Cross product of this. So half of mod A bar cross minus 2B bar by 3. 2 will cancel. We'll get 1/3 of A cross B. This area. If you want this triangle area, I will take cross product of these two. Half of minus 2B bar by 3 cross product with minus A minus B by 2. But B cross B is 0. We'll get half minus 2B bar by 3 and minus A bar by 2. And I want double of that because I want quadrilateral, not this. So 2 and 2 will cancel. This 2 will cancel. Again, 1/3 mod A cross. So given by vectors, so how this area is same as that. Let us see, can we do by pure geometry? This is D, this is A, this is B, this is C, this is X, this is Y, this is M, this is. Through this point, I want to draw a vertical line. I want to prove this is to this is 2:1. So this is to this is 2:1 somehow it will. But if this is to this is 2:1. Yes, I think it's quite easy. This is half of this. So unless I've done all this, by pure geometry, it's very, very easy. Why? This triangle and this triangle are similar triangles. This and this. Okay. So this one is half of this. That's very easy. So this is to this is 2:1. So this is to this is 2:1. Now that's done. If I take this triangle and this triangle, they have same height, but the base side and the is to 2:1. So this is to this is 2:1. Means if this is K, this is 2K. If this is K, this is also 2K. So both are equal. That is understood that. Option B. Okay. 40th question. Let S F Q to Z. Q is a set of rational numbers. Z is set of integers. Rational numbers to integers. Okay. F of x plus y is equal to f of x plus f of y for all x numbers. The number of elements. Normally, f of x plus y is equal to f of x plus f of y means then f of x must be only kx. All the 0 is possible, but otherwise because whatever rational number you take, k times that also should be rational integer. Okay, let us try to give some explanation for this. In 10th question, basically f is from q to z. This is rational. These are integers, and f of x plus y is equal to f of x plus f of y. Here, can prove many things. If you put y equal to minus x, or if you put x equal to y equal to 0, first of all, f of 0 is 0. F of 0 equal to 2f of 0 will come. So that f of 0 equal to, or if you put only y equal to 0 also it will come. We'll get f of x is equal to f of x plus f of 0. F of x will cancel, you get f of 0. Either way, that is one thing we need. Next, if for example f of L is k, f of 2L will be 2k, because 2L means you can write f of L plus L, that is f of L plus f of L, that is k plus k 2k. Similarly, f of 3L will be 3k. So I can tell f of ML will be m into k. So, for example, let's say f of 1 by n, okay, is some k. Then f of 2 by n will be 2k, f of 3 by n will be 3k, f of 4 by n will be 4k. But all of them should be integers. Even if I take fractions. Not that we will get. Okay. Let us do this way. I will take f of 1 equal to k, and I will prove how f of 1 by 2 is k by 2. Okay, because f of 1 can be written as f of 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2. That is f of 1 by 2 plus f of 1 by 2 equal to k. So f of 1 by 2 will be k by 2. Similarly, I can prove f of 1 by 3 is k by 3. And I can prove f of 1 by 4 is k by 4. F of 1 by 1000 is k by 1000. Like that I can write. Now, but I want always answer should be integer. So k should be integer, k by 1, 2 is integer, k by 3 integer, k by 4 integer, k by 1000, k by 1 lakh, k by 1 crore, k by 10,000 crore. Whatever you take k by natural number is integer. If it is up to 10, I would have said k, you can take 10 factorial, any multiple of that. But forever you want, that is only possible when k is 0. Okay. So I can prove f of 1 is 0, similarly f of 1 by 2 is 0, f of anything such thing. I can prove it is 0. So f of x should be always 0. You can thoroughly write a proper solution with this order. That's it. So number of elements in S is only. So number of process functions are f of x must be always 0. Okay, 11th one, this is more than one answer question. In vectors, Lingard calculus is involved here. It is variable, that is differentiation of a vector this way. Phi1 and phi2 are non-constant differential functions where velocity vector, maybe v bar, is phi1 of ti plus phi2 of tj. So basically in physics we have questions where how it moves along x-axis, its component is a function of t, and how it moves along y-axis, the component is also a function of t. So I guess it's in many other things. How will you find velocity or acceleration? Differentiate the first one, second one. First one will give acceleration along x-axis, second one will give acceleration along y-axis. As they want option A. dv bar by dt bar is always null vector. No. V bar dot dv bar by dt, if it is 0, then mod v is a constant. What is the dot product will come? So V bar phi1 of t into I, phi2 of t into j. So dv bar by dt, d of phi1 of t by dt, by d by dt of phi2 of t into j. Not this constant other way, not dv by dt is not constant. So this is one is this. Okay. Basically, what is mod v bar? Square root of phi1 of t whole square plus phi2 of t. Let us say what is v bar dot dv bar by dt? Phi1 of t into d by dt of phi1 of t, and phi2 of t into d by dt of phi2 of t. This is actually d by dt of phi1 square of t plus phi2 square of t by 2. Because x dx integral is x square by 2. That is of d by dt of phi1 square of t plus phi2 square of t. That is v bar dot dv bar by dt. If it is a constant, the derivative will be 0, this will be 0. And if this is 0, derivative of something is 0, that will be constant. So they are interrelated. So v bar dot dv bar by dt equal to 0 double implies phi1 square of t plus phi2 square of t is equal to constant, not 0, sorry, constant. So that is exactly the mod v bar. This is actually mod. Basically, I think what they're saying is in a circular motion, you know that on a particle, when you apply force always perpendicular to it, okay, you can say the magnitude of velocity doesn't change. If it is not perpendicular, that's an angle. There will be this component. Due to this component, the velocity in this direction has to be changed. I'm talking about the radial acceleration and tangential acceleration. If there is a tangential acceleration, okay, then we'll also have tangential velocity magnitude. Okay, in the place of v, you can imagine s here. This is s and this is ds by dt. Unless velocity and displacement are perpendicular, the magnitude of displacement doesn't change. Okay. You can take velocity and acceleration, or you can take displacement and velocity. Okay, what is this one? Let f g or to r be such that f of x equal to x power k, g of x where k is a positive integer. Suppose g is continuous at x equal to 0. Positive integer. Okay. If g is continuous, we can prove f is continuous, and we can prove definition will also. F dash 0 is 0 for every positive integer k. Option C admits, right? It's obvious for the A, B is also right. And the B and the B is right. F dash 0 is same as G of 0. Is 1 and rest of the time 2. So BCD should be the answers. So 1 over B. Yeah, because when K is 1, F dash 0 is not 0. So BD is correct. Okay, so what are the different things given in the question? F of x is equal to x power k into g of x, and k is an integer. G is continuous, so limit extends to 0, g of x is same as g of g. Okay, so obviously f is continuous at 0. Why? Let us see what is limit extends to 0 f of x. Limit extends to 0 x power k into g of x. And even though this has some limit into 0, it will be 0. And which is also same as f of 0, because f of 0 also 0 into something 0. No problem. So f is continuous at x equal to 0. So sum f of 0 is equal to 0. F of 0 is 0 into g of 0, which is 0. Second, differentiability. F dash 0 is limit extends to 0 f of x minus f of 0 by x minus 0. That is limit extends to 0 x power k g of x minus f of 0 is already 0 proved by x. So it is limit extends to 0 x power k minus 1 into g of x. Now we have to take two cases. K is an integer, k equal to 1 separate, k is 2, 3, 4, so on separate. When take k equal to 1, this is completely gone. Nothing wrong, it will exist, and it will be g of 0, and it's fine. F dash 0 exists, so it is differentiable, no doubt. When you take 2, 3, 4, so on, it will be still there. Okay, 0 into anything will be 0. So that is exactly this. That is f dash 0 equal to g of 0 if k equal to 1, and 0 if k is not equal to 1, any other integer. Okay. And f is differential. Always, whatever is k, it is differential. Okay, k not equal to 1. So that's how we get that option at the end of it. So the simple differentiability only. Continuous, differentiable, but what is the derivative is changing in this situation. One time g of 0, another time. Okay, 13. Let Z1 equal to A plus IB and Z2 equal to C plus IB be complex numbers. Smart Z1 Z2 equal to 1 and real part of Z1 Z2 equal to 0. Then the complex numbers always satisfy. This also passes advanced question. Means also some part of this are there. This is all about the W1 and W2. Z1 equal to A plus IB and the mod Z1 equal to Z2 equal to C plus ID and the mod Z2 equal to and the real part of Z1 Z2 conjugate is 0. W1 is equal to A plus IC and the W2 is B plus I. You can visualize it or we can try to do other way also. Let us see what is coming here. Real part of Z1 is A plus IB. This is C minus ID equal to B. What is that? Will come real part is AC plus BD equal to 0. But we should not forget mod Z1 is 1 and mod Z2 is 1. We will get here AC equal to minus BD. That is we also know A square plus B square equal to 1 and C square plus B square equal to 1. I'll get A by D is equal to minus B by C. I want to call them as K. I'll get A equal to KD and B equal to minus KC. Now square and add, we'll get A square plus B square equal to K square times D square plus C square. But A square plus B square, C square plus D square are same, and it cancels them. We'll get K square equal to 1, K equal to plus or minus 1. Okay. So when you take two cases, K equal to 1, K equal to minus 1. When I take K equal to 1 here, what is what? A equal to D and B equal to minus C, or here A equal to minus 3 and B equal to C. If we take this case, what actually happened is W1 will become same as Z1 because, or at least its conjugate, we can write minus BJ. Okay, in this case, W1 is A minus IB, which is Z1 conjugate, and W2 is, I can change A also. When I change D as, no, when I change B as minus C plus ID, it is somewhat like Z2 conjugate. With Z2, at the place of C, I wrote minus B, which is this conjugate, and then the place of B, I wrote minus C. For this, C minus ID, so this is minus Z2 conjugate. What is the advantage of understanding W1, W2 in terms of this? We know mod Z1 equal to mod Z2. So we know mod W1 equal to mod W2. Okay, so we already got option A, mod W1 equal to mod W2. Next, real part of W1 is same as imaginary part of W2. Is it right? Real part of W1. C. Imaginary part of W2. The real part of W1 is A. A and D are the equal. Here they are equal, but in another case they are not equal. So option B is half of the case not for sure. Real part of W1, W2 conjugate is 0. That is same as Z1, Z2 conjugate. Why? Right here, in the place of Z1, I can write W1 conjugate. I can apply conjugate on both. So real part of W1 conjugate and Z2 conjugate will be minus W2 equal to 0. If real part of something is 0, its conjugate is also 0. So real part of W1, W2 conjugate is 0 minus W back. Okay, it is possible to do that. Next, what else? Real part of W1 into W2 is same as 2 into real part of W1 into real part of W2. I don't think. Because when you multiply them, what is the real part? AB minus CD. Is it individual real parts? Is it AB minus CD as same as 2AB? Then maybe see. AB into, in the place of C, what I can write? Minus B. In the place of D, I can write A. If it is this, the place of C plus B, in the place of D minus. So it's coming to A. Yes. The real part of W1, W2 is this, which is 2 times real part of W1, W2. So it's like all are correct. Except option B has sometimes correct. So 13 ACD. So yes, B is not correct. And let us see if we can explain this graph. Mod Z1, mod Z2 are equal, means they are lying on the same circle. If they are lying on the same circle, center origin, real part of Z1, Z2 conjugate equal to 0. I can write Z1 by Z2 also into mod Z2 square equal to 0. Real part of something is 0 is purely imaginary. So Z1 by Z2 is purely imaginary, means Z1 is perpendicular to Z2. Whenever ratio is purely imaginary, they're perpendicular. So if Z1 is here, I can tell for sure Z2 should be here or here. Because this is A plus IB, if you multiply with I, this will come. If you multiply with minus I, this will come. So C plus ID must be I or minus I into A plus IB. If I compare, if I take plus it here and take I inside, you are going to get a minus B plus AI. Directly you will get C equal to minus B and D equal to A. And after that, the same story that we discussed, how W1 and W2 are same like the Z1, Z2 or their conjugate. That's good for 30. Okay, 40. For every A belongs to R, let PA be the parabola given by y equal to x square plus 2ax plus c. There's a common point which lies on PA for each. Which lies on PA for each. Okay. There is no common point which lies on PA for each. The vertex of PA lies on x equal to minus a. The locus of the vertex PA is a parabola. The vertex is this. So y is equal to x square plus 2ax plus a. As you change, you will get different parabolas. First, we'll understand them and then we'll talk about. Okay, as you change this a, it is different parabola. I can adjust this as y minus x square equal to a into 2x plus 1. It is a new parabola passing the point of intersection of these two. So if I take this 0, y minus x square equal to 0 and 2x plus 1 equal to 0. I get x equal to minus of and y is equal to 1 by 2. So minus of comma 1 by 2. So whatever a you take, this will always pass through minus 1 by 2 comma 1 by 2. That is 1. Next, as you change a, what is happening to the figure of this. How it is, what is that? Constant is changing. Sum of the roots is changing. Product of the roots is changing. Some of the reciprocals of the roots may not be changing because this by this, C by B, that is should be what is alpha plus beta by alpha beta minus B by A by C by A, which is minus B by C. Okay, so 1 by alpha plus 1 by beta is not changing. So what can you compute from 1 by alpha plus 1 by beta? Is not changing. Let us take one example. If I take x equal to 1, it is y x square plus 2x plus 1. If I take x equal to 2, anyway, let us see what is the vertex of this. This is x plus a whole square, first of all. For that, I have to subtract a square. So bring this side y minus a square equal to x plus a whole square. An upward parabola with focus vertex as minus a comma a minus a square. Okay. So yes, the vertex of the parabola always lies on x equal to minus a line. That's correct. And what is the locus of the vertex? That itself is one question. That is very simple. We take x equal to minus a is minus x. So y equal to a minus a square. In the place of a, you can write minus x. Minus x minus x whole square, which is minus x square. That itself is a parabola. They wanted it with x and all that. So if I take minus common, it is x square plus x. If I make minus to this side and make that square, it is x plus half whole square minus half. So minus 1 by 4. If I send to that side, it is x plus half whole square. It will be x plus half whole square minus y plus 1 by 4. That is x minus half whole square equal to minus of y minus 1 by 4. Okay, this is a parabola whose vertex is minus half comma 1 by 4, which we got earlier. That this parabola is always passing through that point. Where is it? I raised it. Yeah. So the fourth option is also right. I think option A is also right. What is that? Something else we need to find about it. There is a common point which lies on PA for each A. So A is correct, B is wrong. The vertex of PA lies on equal to. Now we throw all the options. The locus is also correct. ACD. That's it. But still, I want to understand a little more about this. So anyway, I will raise it equal to a minus a square from x plus a minus a comma a minus a square is a parabola. What is the type of equal to x minus x minus x minus x. That is x minus half whole square equal to minus y x plus half whole square. Minus 1 by 2. So minus 1 by 2 comma 1 by 4 is here. And that to a downward parabola. And this parabola has one time this vertex, one time this vertex. Okay. So one time parabola like this, maybe one time like this, one time like this. One time upward parabola. Okay. So as you change here, the parabola is moving like this, their vertices are moving like this, but they all should pass through this point. So it is a parabola like this, and a parabola like this, and a parabola like this, and a parabola like this. They are all intersecting. The derivative comes to x plus 2a. At minus a, the root of age. It's all good. Just I wanted to know about the nature of the curve. All right. Let's get 10 minutes. Answer is ABT also. For let x naught greater than 0, and for every natural number n, we define Sn is this, Cn is this. Then for all n, both are same. So sin square theta plus cos square theta, option A is right. B, they wanted Sn is always greater than equal to Sn plus 1. N to n plus 1 angle is increasing or decreasing, have to calculate. B is also okay. C is maybe the greater than, but it must be less than. Okay, they gave the angle as pi into x naught power n by 1 plus x naught power 2n. Pi into x naught power minus n by x naught power. As n changes, is this increasing or decreasing? Okay. It's not even about pi, and x naught is a constant. So I want to know whether you take x naught by 1 plus x naught square by 1 plus x naught power 4, x naught cube by 1 plus x naught power 6, x naught power 4 by 1 plus x naught power 8. What is happening to all these values? Are they increasing or decreasing? So I think I should take a here and here some. So a power x by 1 plus a power x, and this is changing from 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. I can take x naught as a and n as x, and here 2x. Okay. Now as I change x, what is happening to this? Okay. If I bring it down, it is a power x plus a power minus x. I think we very well know the graph is like this. And not only that, if I take only denominator, it is more easy to prove. So the derivative is a power x minus a power minus x. And our x is a natural number here. So when you take any natural number, a is greater than 1 by a. A square and a cube. So you can even take LCM, a power 2x minus 1 by a power. This is always positive. This is a positive number and this is a natural number. More than 1, less than 1. Depends on whether a is more than 1 or less than 1. So it is a decreasing one. This is decreasing, 1 by that will be increasing. So if this value is increasing, from what to what it will be. Finally, it is initially it is like a by 1 plus a. No, a by 1 plus a square. Okay. A by 1 plus a square, and finally it is like something like a power 100 by 1 plus a power 200. 1 by a plus 1 by a here, 1 by a power 100 plus 1 by a power 100. I can take a more than 1 or less than. We take a more than 1. We take a equal to 1, all are equal. We take a more than 1, let's say 5. This is 1 by 5 plus 1 by 5. That is 1 by 5 power 100 plus 1 by 5 power 100. This is very big compared to this. So this decreasing to 0 with some higher value. That means this value is decreasing from pi to 0. When values are decreasing, sign of that will decrease. The cos of that will increase because sine graph is like this, whereas cos graph is like this. So I don't know whether this region or this region. So from the MGM inequality, this is always greater than equal to 2, so this will be less than equal to 1 by 2. It will be less than equal to 5 by 2. It will not up. This is greater than equal to 2, so it will be less than 5 by 2. So it is not becoming pi to 0, pi by 2 to 0. Okay, that's good. Maybe some people confused. I'll explain in detail once. Okay, so we are dealing with pi into x naught power n by 1 x naught power 2. I want to take x naught as a and n as x for your understanding. It will be a power x by 1 plus a power 2x. It is 1 by a power x plus a power minus x. According to MGM inequality, a power x plus a power minus x by 2 is greater than equal to 1. That is root over a power x into a power minus x. So a power x plus a power minus x is greater than equal to 2. So 1 by a power x plus a power minus x is less than equal to 1 by 2. Okay. So this is definitely less than equal to 1 by 2. And then only denominator is an increasing function. Whether we take a more than 1 or a less than 1 doesn't matter. Because whether you take a2 or a1 by 2, there is no difference in the function. Why is that? You find derivative, you will get a power x minus a power minus x, the denominator. If a is positive, more than 1, this is more than this. And if a is negative, then I can take 1 by ast and do the same. Okay. So this is increasing, means 1 by that is decreasing. So this total is decreasing, and initially it is something less than 5 by 2. So the starting point is itself something is less than 5 by 2 and decreasing. So I can take it as it is decreasing from 5 by 2 to 0. If something is decreasing, sign will be decreasing. Or actually sign is increasing function, but you are going from this side, and the cost will increase. Okay, so that is exactly option B and option C. A is very simple. So that's why option B is right. Option C reverse would have been right. Option D, if I do cross manipulation, things are easier, I feel. We wanted Sn by Cn. I think it's greater than equal to Sn plus 1 by Cn plus 1. We do cross multiplication Sn into Cn plus 1 greater than equal to Sn plus 1 Cn. That is Sn into Cn plus 1 is greater than equal to Sn plus 1 minus Cn greater than equal to 0.2. That's sufficient. Okay, this is sin A cos B minus cos A sin B, which is sin A minus B. So which is a sine of whatever is angle and sine. That is pi into x naught power n by 1 plus x naught power 2n minus pi into x naught power n plus 1 by 1 plus x naught power 2n plus 1. We already proved how this angle is less than this. So this is a positive angle, acute angle. Two acute angles, this is bigger than this, so difference is also a positive acute angle, and sine of that will be positive greater than equal to 0. If this is true, all the way back, it is true. Is that done? Yes. I can even take some other. Let me explain one more thing. Actually, we want to understand sine phi into a power n by 1 plus a power 2. Let us take a power n is tan theta. What will happen? Sine pi into tan theta by 1 plus tan square divided with 2 multiplied with 2 will be sine pi by 2 into sine 2 theta. And when you take a power n as tan theta as n increasing, this is increasing from pi by 4 to pi by 2, frankly. Because if a is more than 1, okay, now you are starting with something like very close to 1 and going to very high value. So corresponding theta is 45 to 90. 2 theta will be 90 to 180. If that is 90 to 180, means this will be from 1 to 0. So this is decreasing from pi by 2 to 0. And sign of that is always positive. Positive and decreasing to control the electrons.